Want to hear our take on all your favorite filmy things? Tune in to Clapback, the radio show for film critics, production news, pop culture, and social commentary, serving as a place for our voice in our cinematic universe. Hosted by the Loyola Film Circle, Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Action!
To listen to music that uplifts the soul, follow jescom.ph on Spotify and Jescom Music on YouTube. Our music is also available on iTunes and Deezer.
Eagle kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay atin mista sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela.
Welcome to The Rundown, where we take you right into the action with the latest sports news, updates, game previews, breakdown, and analysis in, around, across, and beyond the Ateneo. And now, let's get ready to run down!
All right, what is up, Blue Eagle Nation? Thank you again for tuning into us over here at Radyo Katipunan 87.9, the voice of the Blue Eagle. And once again, mga basketball fans dyan, it's time for our Katipunan crossover hoop talk this afternoon. Of course, leading the way is myself, Anthony again, and I'm being joined by ang ating favorite na ballin' cousins, Javi Palana and Marty Veloso. Of course, Javi joining us from the maroon side of things on Katipunan, and Marty, of course, from Team Blue. Anyway, so guys, kakatapos lang ng PBA Season 46 Rookie Draft nung Sunday yan, March 14. A record number of 65 out of 86 participants were selected over 8 rounds, which is insane for a league with only 12 teams. So, okay, who fans out there, we're gonna go everything that went down, yung best reactions dyan, inspiring stories, snubs, flubs, and ang mga favorite natin na weird pro player comparisons. Alright, so if you guys are expecting na gagawin namin yung pick by pick hanggang round 8, baka pang ano na lang yun, pang next time na lang. Kasi gagawin natin yan, we're just go through the, yung mga standout storylines. Pero ito, before we go ahead, Marty, Javi, I'll start with Marty. Hanggang anong round ka umupo at bigla mo nilang sinabi na, pare, tama na, marami pa akong ibang gagawin, tayo na ako dito. Until what round did you watch, and when did you get up off the couch and say, okay, tama na, I've watched enough?
Actually, ako siguro 5th round, I'd say.
Oh.
Medyo matagal na rin yun, 5th round. Pero after that, we had dinner. So, kumain na lang muna ako. So, yeah.
Okay. Ikaw naman, Javi.
Actually, I was following the draft just on live stream on my phone kasi we were on the way back from Batangas. So pagdating mo medyo third, fourth round, medyo di ko na sinubaybayan. Kasi parang di na worth it eh. Sa full na ako nag-follow.
Tapos
Di
parang,
ko na makalala yung ibang players eh. But of
Parang-
course, nabangan ko rin yung ibang teammates na madadraft sana. So buti na lang all my high school teammates got drafted.
wow, congratulations, Javi. And going to our first and I think yung most important na serious topic muna tayo, serious topic para maganda yung usapan, no? Sabi ni Javi, lahat ng high school teammate niya na draft. Pero I think there is one particular high school teammate dito ni Javi. And we know him, Marty, ha? Galing to sa Ateneo dati. Naglaro to dati, sandali sa atin. And I think ito yung magbibigyan ko ng award for most inspiring story of the draft. And okay, yung hosts natin nun, yung broadcasters, yung paulit-ulit childhood dream. Pero ito, this is more than a dream for him. Javi, I'm talking about none other than Coco Pingoy, Jerry Pingoy. Javi, ano yung first thing na sinabi mo kay Coco? Like, when you found out na Phoenix, LPG, 5th round, Jerry Pingoy, like, binati mo ba siya? Ginuhit mo kagad?
Yeah, actually, I was very happy for him na he got drafted. Just the fact that he got drafted was already lucky for him. Kasi yun nga, before this draft, we didn't have any draft combine and Pingoy was out of the loop for quite a while already. He tried to come back in the PBA D-League, but which was halted by the pandemic. So he didn't really get much burn on the hard court to show off his stuff. But we know talaga what Pingoy is capable of when he was still in high school, going into Ateneo, and then he went into Adamson, and that's when he went into an absence. So it's really fortunate for him that he still got to get drafted, and to get drafted by someone of a coach like Tupex Robinson, who was in a similar situation as him way before back when he was a player.
Yeah, exactly, no? Because Marty, I can't help but remember, no, when you think of Coco Pingoy, it's that batch of recruits ng Ateneo with the Arvin Tolentinos, himself, diba? Ang dami na that parang that class showed so much promise sana, pero they ended up transferring to different other schools, diba? Like, you kind of think about that, no? What if they had stayed, what legacy would they have had sa Blue Eagles, diba?
Yeah, if you look at the group that they had, you had Clint Duliges, Arvin Tolentino, John Apacible, and one of the more important was CJ Perez, who never actually got to play in the UAAP, and Hubert Cani. Pero you look at the group of guys that they had, and they were actually going to play na transition from Coach Bo to Coach Tab. So it would have been really exciting to see those guys play under Coach Tab. Pero unfortunately, we never got the chance to see that. And for Jerry Pingoy, really so proud and happy for that guy because, I was in high school, grade school pa lang yata, and then narinig mo na yung pangalan niya, Jerry Pingoy. Na ganun siya kagaling na they actually had to, everyone knows about the Jerry Pingoy rule, which is so unfortunate. And after everything that he's gone through, it's so refreshing and so fulfilling for him to make it to the PBA.
So, two things from that. Grade school si Marty nun. So, alam mo na kung gaano ka may katanda ni Javi. Pero, pangalawa, and then pangalawa doon, Marty, great point that you mentioned about the Jerry Pingoy rule. Javi, pag sinabi mong Jerry Pingoy rule, parang, when you were teammates with him, did you ever think na si Coco would be involved in such a controversial ruling na dumating pa sa Senate yon? Diba, about the transfer rule, sitting out a couple of years of residency, like, you would know siguro personally how that affected si Coco.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Anthony, when we were in high school, we thought that Pingoy's path he would be the heir apparent of someone like a Johnny Abrientos. I mean, us winning the first championship of the Baby Tamaraos since the Johnny Abrientos era when FEU High was still in Moraita and the first championship of FEU ever since we transferred to Diliman. So we would think the logical decision for him was to stay with the Tamaraos and, be someone of a Johnny Abrientos, be a Tamarao legend, full and full, through and through, being from the high school ranks and going into the collegiate ranks. We had no inkling whatsoever that he wanted to go into Ateneo. Actually, Nalaman ko na lang when we guested him on Standing Room Only. That's where he told everything that he really, from when he was still in UC, he already wanted to play for Ateneo because he was good friends with Kiefer Lim, who eventually played for the Blue Eaglets. He wanted to transfer already to Sacred Heart, but at that time, kasi Sacred Heart wasn't offering scholarships. So the next best thing for him was to go to University of Cebu. And then from University of Cebu, Ateneo wasn't recruiting him. And then the next best thing there was to go to FEU, where he really showed his wares and became a back-to-back juniors MVP and won a championship for us. So, for him to go into this very controversial situation, going into Ateneo, go through all that trouble, you really feel for the guy because all this guy wants is to fulfill his dreams of being a great basketball player.
Yeah, exactly. Pero yun na lang. I think Marty would also know about this kasi si Marty, di ba, nag-transfer ka rin. Ka-reachan si Marty, di ba? Pero when I'm talking about this, Marty, him not being given the chance to develop under one single program na, di ba, hahasain yung skills mo for all 4 or maybe 5 years of eligibility. Parang ang hirap nun kasi kada lipat, reset na naman, reset again. Di ba, like, that sort of parang put so many obstacles ahead of Coco during his collegiate career, no?
Yes, because when I was in high school, we actually had a coaching change ourselves. And from kahit hindi player ang lumipat, pag coach ang lumipat talaga, it's really difficult because you're going to implement another system. They want maybe a different culture. And the coaching change that happened for our school was really difficult because a new batch of players came in because the coach wanted different players as well. And for him you can look at it 2 ways. Unlucky or lucky, but it's all about the opportunity. Because even if you say that he had this Jerry Pingoy rule, that he had to go through all that, I believe he checked out everything from his bucket list of playing in the UAP, being an MVP, and now with the pandemic, unlucky na naman, but here he is again with another opportunity in the PBA, and he actually got drafted. So in basketball, the world of basketball is just making the most out of the opportunities that you get. And it's very nice to see Jerry Pingoy getting multiple opportunities to prove himself.
Well said, Marty. I love it. Yung about the opportunities. I think that's what Coco also said, Javi, nung na-interview siya when he got drafted. No? Sabi niya, parang he just appreciates si Coach Topex just making the effort to give him an opportunity. Kasi then when Coach Topex was interviewed, sabi niya, I also want to be a coach who gives parang guys who are passed over multiple times the opportunity to play. And parang, di ba, when life started hitting Coco, di ba, he's now a father of a young kid, tapos he's now in his stage in life where he needs to support and provide for a family. Parang Javi, saktong-sakto dumating to, no, for Coco.
Oh, very sakto talaga. And for Coach Topex, it's for him, it's coming full circle, no? When he was a player, he was drafted in the later rounds, and then later on given a chance by Coach Yang Yao when he was with Barako Bull. And now that he's a coach, he wants to be that guy who wants to give that opportunity to a player who many pundits have been saying has already been checked out of the regular loops of basketball. When you say you're talking about the PBA and when you're talking about the new class of players that are coming in, some people don't anymore remember who Jerry Pingoy is, who Jerry Pingoy was as a player. Yeah. And right now, I really like how Coach Topex said that he now has a chance to write his basketball destiny with the Phoenix Fuel Masters.
Exactly, no? And grabe, I can still remember this kasi, although I haven't known Coco personally, no? Pero naalala ko to, Javi, Marty. Last year, last year, tama. This was around January, February. The D-League just opened their season. And we were there kasi sinama kami ni Sir Noel Zarate dun sa Phil Oil Arena. Sabi niya, who wants to see a D-League game? Tapos we can practice commentary over it. Oh yeah, sure, sama kami. And parang I was seeing Coco and he was playing for CEU, diba? over there, and then he had this kid joining him sa warm-ups. Parang sabi ko, wow, he's finally getting a shot again in basketball. Little did we know that weeks after that na magkaka-COVID, lockdown lahat. So parang sabi ko, oh, paano na yun? Paano na yung D-League chance niya? Pero I mean, it turned out all for the better kasi he's now in the PBA. I know being drafted and getting signed is those are two totally different things. Pero just being drafted for Coco Mingoy, I mean, what a story, and it just can't get any better than that. So Javi, Marty, love this talk about Jerry Pingoy. He totally deserves this. I think Javi, kakausapin mo siya soon also, no?
No, actually we already guested him on Standing Room I think 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks before the draft, and that's where he bared everything about his plans nung early high school, about his plans of dreams of making it to Ateneo, and that's why he really pushed for going into Ateneo, and controversy struck him, and good thing right now everything's coming full circle for him. For a player like Coco Pingoy, especially right now, all he needs is an opportunity, all he needs is a chance, and I think he will very well take advantage of that chance and opportunity to show his wares in the PBA.
Okay, tayo dito sa Radyo Katipunan, we're all rooting for the one-time Blue Eagle. Speaking of opportunity, so Coco got a great shot. He got a great opportunity with Phoenix Fuel. Pero Marty was talking about this before we went on air. There were certain guys who didn't get an opportunity at all kasi unfortunately, they belong to the Phil Foreigner category and hindi sila pumasa dun sa 5 p.m. deadline ng PBA para pasa yung yung mga DOJ documents, yung mga clearance nila, ganon. Marty, I'll give you a list of players. Sino dito, like, who among these would you have wanted to see live in the PBA? I'm naming Jason Brickman, Taylor Statham, Jeremiah Gray, Brandon Ganuelas-Rosser, Tyrus Hill, John Paul Gulfo, and Christopher Cancio.
For me, it's easy to pick Jeremiah Gray because a few years back, actually, I think he was being recruited by Ateneo to actually play in the UAP. Oh. And he eventually chose to stay in the States. So, when you hear a player like that and he's actually like D1 caliber, it's very exciting. And I was following a few of his tournaments, and he actually joined the Drew League, and he also played for Ala Pilipinas and Mighty Sports. And he's really, it's so unfortunate because a guy like that represents the country in multiple tournaments, not being allowed to play in the PBA. But the rules are the rules. So, but yeah, Jeremiah Grace, because the way he plays, he's very athletic. The way he dunks he just jumps out of the gym. He can shoot, and he's a pretty big guy, 6'5", and can handle the ball. So it would have been really exciting. Maybe he's like something similar to Jamie Malonzo, the second pick of the draft. So it would have been exciting to see more high flyers in the PBA because that's what we want, excitement.
Yeah, definitely, no. And siguro Marty, dahil dun si Javi dito, parang ano ba naman yan? Dwight Ramos na nga, sasamahan mo pa ng Jeremiah Gray. Tama na! Talong-talo na kami sa Battle of Katipunan.
No, I don't think I could say that because apparently we got all the blue chip recruits.
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone coming from high school actually committed to UP.
So no complaints naman dito si Javi, no?
I don't think I have the right to complain about that.
Okay. So, moving on from that topic. Okay, ito na. Our favorite segment for this episode. Okay. So, what also caught my eye during the draft process, well, hanggang siguro mga round 5 or 6, were I'm not gonna say inaccurate, weird. Medyo weird na pro player comparison. Sabi ni Marty, basta bedan ka, basta tenista ka, ikaw na yung next Javi Mocon, ikaw na yung next 30 Ravena. Pero okay, I'm gonna give you some pro player comparisons na nalista ko while watching. Tapos sabihin mo lang if it's weird or totally weird. Okay, I'll start with Marty. Joshua Monzon, number 1 pick, bucket getter from the ABL, from 3x3, lahat na. Joshua Monzon is equal to Rashawn McCarthy.
I'm not so sure if that's a serious comparison, but I don't know. For me, that's a very that doesn't make sense. So that's a bad comparison to me. I'm sorry.
Wala nang masabi dito si Marty.
Yeah, because that's the number one pick we're talking about, and with respect to Rashawn McCartney, but nah, that's not a good comparison. They're completely. Joshua Monzon may be able to play the point guard, but he's not a point guard that sets the team up. That, as you said, that guy's a bucket getter. So yeah, completely different players.
True. Okay, Javi, nasabi na to natin kanina. Pero here goes. Santi Santillan is equal to Ray Evangelista.
I'm so sorry. All due respect to Ray Evangelista, he's someone you could say of a legend for the Pure Foods franchise. But I'm so sorry he's not really comparable to Santi Santillan. First of all, Santi Santillan can score if needed. They are both aggressive on the defensive end, but Santi Santillan has the height, and Santi Santillan has more in his offensive arsenal compared to Ray Evangelista.
Okay, so we can say that's a weird comparison. Okay, ito naman.
Comparison.
Marty, Ben Adamos, former San Beda and Perpetual Health Center, is equal to Jervy Cruz.
Yeah, I think comparing Ben Adamos to the former UAP MVP is quite it's weird. That's weird. About these player comparisons, I think they should just say what the player is and talk about him for who he is, not for you're trying to just look for holes in their games to compare them, because each player may have a certain mold, but especially these new guys, the game is changing, and if you're comparing a guy from a different era, it's it just might not look good for the player that's coming in, especially if fans are reading and they're gonna be like, oh, this guy plays like this, and when they watch the game, it's completely different. They'll be so confused. It's gonna be hard to follow the rookies in this draft if we're gonna continue to make weird comparisons.
And speaking of weird, Marty, okay, let's try something na medyo new school. Okay, so Andre Karakot daw is equal to, hindi ko alam kung just because of height, just because of stature, Anjo Karam.
That's probably just a position thing.
Okay.
Pero Andre Karakot is more of a scorer talaga ever since he was in San Beda.
Yeah.
If you're the star player in high school, everyone will usually handle the ball. So maybe that's where they got that, because Anjo Karam handles the ball. They came from San Beda. Eventually, Karakot went to LaSalle. Pero their games are completely different.
True.
If you're looking for a steady point guard, that's Anjo Karam. Pero if you're looking for someone that looks to score, that's Andre Karakot. So that's different.
Definitely different, Marty. Okay, kilala ni Javi to. David Morel is equal to GP Faundo.
Completely different. First of all, David Morel is a very athletic wing player. GP Faundo is athletic as well, but GP Faundo plays more of the 4 and the 5. So they're very different positions and very different play styles. It's really, Anthony, just to add to what Marty said a while ago, these player comparisons maybe is thinking a step backward, because we're doing the PBA draft, and the PBA draft is infusing new blood into the PBA, and I don't think these player comparisons do really bode well for these players that are incoming and for these players that they're comparing them to. It's not respectable for both parties.
Exactly. Pero eto, Marty, alam ko may isa silang tumama sa lahat ng draft picks. May isa silang tumama na pro player comparison. Okay? At alam namin to. Alam din ni Javi to kasi UAP fans tayong tatlo. Okay. Alex Stockton is equal to Ron Denison. Tama, kasi pareho silang marumi maglaro.
I actually saw that, and that was probably one of the only ones I was like, yeah, maybe, probably that's, and but also again, they're both from FEU. They played the same role. Talagang they do the dirty work. I don't know what kind of dirty work they do, but pero yeah.
At least meron. At least may tama naman.
No, but for Alex Stockton, because you can see naman when he played in FEU, he was pretty athletic and he's big for a point guard. He should actually play point guard, and I'm looking forward to what he can do in the PBA. Kasi when he plays the game right naman, he's very effective and he's useful. So just take out, and I watched an interview, he said he'll take out the antics na. So I'm looking forward to that because syempre you want him naman to have a good career because it's him trying to earn naman, and if he just focuses on the good stuff of basketball, everything will be fine for him.
Okay, wag lang yung gagawin yung Ron Denison habits niya. So, okay ka na dun. Alright, time now for I rarely do this. I love facilitating conversations, pero I rarely give a hot take. Javi knows this. I rarely say something na I might regret. Pero, just going over yung mga draft picks na to, yung mga review sa kanila, yung mga scouting report. Did you notice something, Javi, Marty? When the broadcasters were talking about these picks, they were always yung adjectives. I listed them down. Adjectives dito, he's physical, he's tough, he's hard-nosed, he's a banger, does the dirty work, he's a rugged defender. Parang sa isip-isip ko, is the PBA stuck in the 80s and 90s? Kasi when you look at the NBA draft scouting reports, they talk about, is the guy switchable? Can he guard 1 to 4? Is he a free and D guy? Can he space the floor? Can he shoot the free off the dribble? Is he positionless? Parang hindi. So is this what is holding back the PBA? I'm not saying it's a crappy league. No, I'm saying is we have good players, pero what do we give importance to? Are we still giving importance to yung enforcer, rugged, Dennis Rodman, Anthony Mason, ganyan? Or is it parang rarely did I hear anything about positionless basketball, switchability. Parang ikaw, Javi, like what do you think from that?
I think, Anthony, you're very right. That's a very Pinoy trait kasi of us being really trapped in the times of old na, we really vouch for like these yung old stuff, the physicality, does he really bang hard inside? Can he mix it up inside with the big guys? That's where we're really, that's where our progress is really stopped in terms of developing as a basketball nation. We're not really able to develop with the other countries like in Europe and in the States. Actually, the States, they're really already gearing towards the play of Europe, wherein, the positionless basketball, like you said, playing the game from the outside with all these big spacing the floor. But here in the Philippines, we're still looking for the physicality. We're still looking if we can mix it up inside. We're really not looking yet to progress our game just like the European game and have these bigs shoot from the outside a la Kristaps Porzingis. We don't have much of these players yet. We already don't have the height, but we also cannot possess these skills that are needed to elevate our game into the international level.
Right. Diba, Marty, parang kaya tayo nahihirapan eh. Tapos, diba, sabihin nila, PBA and FIBA play are so different. Talagang different. Kasi, diba, we prioritize different skill sets. Kaya pag bigla mong papa-adjust sa FIBA where everyone shoots threes, where everyone cuts, moves without the basketball, walang Terence Romeo ball-dominant guard dun pag FIBA play. So parang, draft profile pa lang. Di ba, Marty? Parang, bakit ganyan yung the way we form teams, di ba?
Well, I feel like maybe when they're analyzing the players, I feel like they just don't want to go against the trend of what has been said before. So they want to keep like a certain profile for each player. If this player plays big, he'll be a banger. If this guy's a wing, can he shoot? So they want to keep it simple. But as for the game in the PBA, I think they're slowly understanding that they kind of need to adjust the game of the teams. Because the PBA and the FIBA play is really different. Because again, the time and score, the pace of the game. The PBA is a 12-minute game and the FIBA is like amateur 10 minutes. But with the coaches that are coming in now that have more international experience, they're trying to make the teams have a certain mold to an international style. Because as we've seen, the international style is actually, if you say better or more effective against certain styles in the different leagues. And even though the Filipino players are so talented, you can see how skillful they are to go 1-on-1 ISO. That's an NBA style of basketball, and I don't think that's effective enough to win games. So yeah, the coaches have been adjusting naman to the FIBA style of play.
And that's my yun lang yung concern ko about it. I mean, that ends my hot take, no. Pero yun lang. So parang when Gilas, if ever they do continue with this, no, Gilas joins this upcoming PBA conference as a guest team, yun nga lang, be ready for a clash of styles, be ready for totally different, cultures of and dynamics of playing basketball. But again, that's it for my hot take. Before we continue, just want to greet ang ating viewers and audiences. Oh, si Sir Asel Duran pala niya says, hello Habs, Anthony and Marty. Hello po. Okay. And of course, si Achi Jen Chua, thank you so much for tuning in and commenting. Okay, so ito na. Of course, we can't do every team. Excuse me, San Miguel Beer, hindi ka kasali dito. We can't do... Tama na, marami na kayo nagawa nung off-season ha. Marami na kayo na pick up. So tama na, San Miguel Beer is out of the equation here. Pero for this part naman, Marty, Javi, what we're gonna do is, we'll go per team. Okay, we'll go for the teams that had notable draft picks. Hindi yung Hinebra, please. Ken Holtvis at number 12 is panira yan ng mock draft ko. Pero, okay, we'll go for the teams that have notable draft picks. And we'll just see how the picks sort of fit into their team and vice versa. Okay, so without further ado, let's start with number 1. Terra Firma Jeep. Of course, Marty, they had, first round, they got the number 1 overall pick, Joshua Monzon. Of course, I think who I think is the best pure talent, basketball talent in the draft. They had to fill in the void left by CJ Perez. Pero Marty, feel free to disagree with me on this. Pero CJ Perez is the better defender, the better athlete at his size, 6'1", 6'2". But I think Monzon is the far better scorer.
Well, yeah, I will agree with that.
Okay.
Because score... I mean...
Sige lang.
Maybe he has more... Yeah, I'd say he's a better scorer just because he has a better shot as of now. But in terms of creating your own shot, probably CJ Perez is still there because sometimes it's just... CJ Perez is just unguardable. But again, Joshua Monzon is a different talent also.
Yeah.
It's a big guy that can find his spots and he can handle the ball well. So, yeah.
So, that being said, Marty, what do you think about ito? So, Joshua Monzon is going to be paired up with Rashawn McCarthy and his pro player comparison, Rashawn McCarthy and Roosevelt Adams. So, Terra Firma has a trio of pretty good perimeter players. Adams, McCarthy, Monzon. You think that make them competitive at least for a playoff spot?
Maybe it might make them competitive in the regular season setting, but to make them go all the way, everything has to go together with the system that they implement and how they, I don't know, if their players are not willing to play with each other. We saw that in the bubble. Sometimes they just check out and they just don't want to play anymore. But with new talent coming in, you also have James Laput there, the big guy, and the Veloso actually, from Ateneo. He was drafted by Terra Firma. So, yeah, as long as they want to play with each other, a young group is always good for an up-and-coming team.
All right, Marty, with that mention of Jay Veloso, I think all credits to Javi because sa mga nag-tune in sa amin dito, no. So next week we're gonna highlight Jay Veloso, former Ateneo Blue Eaglet, and also Team B player for the senior squad. So we're gonna highlight his draft story, of course. Ateneo athletes, they deserve a chance to be heard on Radyo Katipunan. So thanks to Javi for that. Pero Javi, I wanna talk about Tira Firma's other pick in the first round. So of course they got, sabi nga ni Marty, James Laput, who's 6'10". That's super rare when it comes to Philippine basketball. You don't get guys 6'10" and above that often. Pero parang I haven't seen a lot of James Laput. He was injured when he was in DLSU. Nakita ko lang yata to 3x3. Is it okay? I'll give you a range. Tell me saang scale dito si James Laput? Is he 6'10", ha? Is he leaning towards the Junmar end of the scale, or is he leaning towards the Samige Eman trend of the scale?
Well, let's just say he's somewhere in the middle, no? He's 6'10", but he is just 24 years old. So definitely more time for him to improve and work on his craft. And I just really hope that he puts in the work. And I think naman na from him playing in the 3x3 circuit, we saw some improvements from the flashes of what he showcased for LaSalle in the UAAP. But yun nga, James Laput, being 6'10", it's already an advantage for him. So he just really needs to put in the work, and he just needs to get the minutes for him to be able to develop into the kind of player that he wants to be for the Terra Firma gym. I just hope Coach John Cardell gives him the chance for him to showcase his talent. It's not an ordinary thing for you to come up with a 6'10" player, especially in the draft.
Right. So, well, I hope James Laput does, show something naman, because we haven't seen a whole lot from him. Speaking of which, we go now to our second team over here, Northport Batang Pair. Marty, they got the Blue Eagle from the Gilas draft. Will Navarro joins Northport. So he joins a former Ateneo standout also in Greg Slaughter, the newly acquired Greg Slaughter for the Batang Pair. Marty, okay, so Will is drafted by Northport for Gilas. But I'm thinking na he might get more action with Gilas kasi look at his position. Plays big forward. Who are the guys at his position in Northport? I'll name a few. Sean Anthony, Sean Manganti, Kevin Ferrer, Sidney Onwubere, Jervy Cruz. Marty, is Will gonna crack the rotation dito sa Northport, or is he gonna see more time with Gilas?
I'm not so sure about the contract, pero I think he's gonna stay with Gilas for a few years. But even if he's in the PBA, I think he can he can actually play and get some minutes. Because we've seen him naman how he plays in Ateneo. When he knows the system, he's very effective. He doesn't need to have the ball to score. He gets rebounds. He can handle the ball and set his teammates up. So I feel like if you have a guy that's skillful at that height, you can always use him, and he should be used when he's available in the PBA.
Parang siguro ang adjustment lang dito ni Will, no, Marty? From Coach Tab na mapapa-English ka, pupunta ka kay Coach Pido na talagang rapid fire Tagalog yan. Umanda ka dyan, iba instructions dyan. Okay, so going now to the regular draft. So first round, Northport, wow. Okay, Javi, I have my own player comparison for this guy, but Jamie Malonzo, DLSU guy, purest athlete in the draft, aka the guy who dunked over Ferdy. Alam natin yan, Marty. He's compared to Gabe Norwood. But, okay, hear me out, Javi. Gabe Norwood is a facilitator who sometimes uses his athleticism. But Jamie Malonzo reminds me of a Kelly Williams, 6'6", explosive. Ang main weapon ni Kelly Williams is his hops. He can jump out of the gym. Well, that was before. No, pero Jamie Malonzo is more Kelly than Gabe. You agree?
I would say so, but to shine. He was new to the PBA back then. If some people remember, Coach Yang Yao wanted him to be some sort of a mold of a scorer, using his athleticism to really shine on the offensive end for rain or shine. But really, he didn't develop the kind of player. He stuck to facilitator, stuck to that guy who's going to be the glue guy for his team. And Jamie Malonzo is really some sort of an alpha personality. And I think that's the sort of thing that Northport needs going into this coming season, because they need someone who will get buckets for them. And Jamie Malonzo has that entire offensive repertoire. He has the athleticism to go inside. He has that decent jump shot from the perimeter. And I think that will bode well for Coach Pido Horencio coming into this coming season.
Right. Tapos ang mag-benefit din dyan si Babes Bolick. Meron na siyang alley-oop loves para kay Jamie Malonzo. So that's something to watch out for. Also picked by Northport. Marty, we're familiar with this guy. Jesuit school graduate din to nung high school. Troy Reich. Okay. I like Troy Reich. I like his attitude. I like his work ethic. But my main concern lang of him being in Northport, Marty, don't you think he might be played out of position? Kasi Troy Reich is more of a natural floor spacing forward. But just because of his height, 6'7", 6'8", I think he's gonna be the backup of Greg Slaughter at center, which is, I don't know if that's Reich's most natural job on the floor, diba?
Well, when you enter the pros, it's really about adjusting, and if you're given the opportunity, then go show your game. But if the coach tells you to do if you have a certain role, then you just have to do it. And if you're gonna play behind Greg Slaughter, at this point you just have to take it. Or I also saw that they might actually put them at the same time. So he'll play the 4 and Greg will be inside. So depending on how they use him, he should just know his role, which is getting rebounds. And if he's given a chance on offense, don't force it inside. But to a certain extent, you do have to use your size. So they'll get some practices in and they'll figure that out.
Right. And I think si Javi is also familiar with Troy. You spoke to him na before. But I mean, I think what's going for Troy Reich is he's a role player. He understands what it means now. Okay, you're being assigned this job. Parang he's there. He's game to do it naman. Sorry, naglag lang yata Javi. About Troy Reich, parang, I mean, him being a role player, I mean, he understands if he's asked to play center, if he's asked to play the 5, then okay, then he's got to do it, diba? Parang he's a work ethic wise, I mean, he's the consummate athlete, pro athlete naman.
Yeah, he is, and I think he is in a great position here in Northport, because I think what Northport is envisioning here for Troy Reich is for him to be mentored by Sean Anthony. Sean Anthony still has some years left in his playing career, but I think what's going for Troy Reich right now is he's being able to be mentored by Sean Anthony, because I think they will make him play the same position eventually as Sean Anthony in the future. In 4 spot.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Javi. Medyo naglalag lang tayo, but it's all right. Marty, kanina you mentioned about Troy Reich being put at the 4. Sabay sila ni Greg. He'll be at the 5 until Greg will be traded to Magnolia. Oops, I said it. Oh no, San Miguel Corporation. What did I say? Okay. Lipat na. Okay, next team. Phoenix Super LPG Fuel Masters. First round, they got Bo Belga Jr., Larry Muyang. Marty, can you even imagine being posing, if you were 6'5", 6'6", you're now banging bodies with the Phoenix frontline, who consists of Larry Muyang, Jason Perkins, Vic Manuel, Justin Chua. They're not the tallest frontline, but they will back you down into submission. Parang Bruce Brothers sa mga to,
That's going to be very hard to go up against, especially with a group that you're not only going to play, you're not going to have a hard time on offense, but also on defense, because these guys can actually score from inside and out. We've seen it. We've seen Muyang score in Letran. Perkins, we all know his inside-out game. Justin Chua, for me, the most improved player from the last conference. And the players that they have now, they're actually forming a good group here. And now they also got Chris Banchero, who's a 2-point guard. He can help Matthew Wright in the backcourt. And yeah, Phoenix is actually going in the right direction with the picks that they made. And yeah, again, that front court is going to be scary for opposing teams. And you have Vic Manuel also joining the team, and that's someone who you can go to on the low post or also outside. There's many options that you have there in the front court, and it's going to be exciting for them.
True that, Marty. And also, second round, they got of course yung partner of Miss Riza Diaz, si Nick Demuses. No, he's a really athletic forward who was mistakenly compared to Jericho Cruz, who I haven't seen dunk in a game ever. Nick Demuses is not Jericho Cruz, but anyway, Javi, I also like their late round picks. Phoenix, we mentioned kanina Coco Pingoy, but can you imagine Coco Pingoy and Aljun Melesio sharing the backcourt in Phoenix? That's something, diba?
It's really going to be interesting how Coach Topix Robinson will shore up his rotation in the backcourt. Marty and I were talking about it kanina before the show that they don't really have any true point guards in the roster, save for maybe Mike Gamboa. So it's really going to be a toss-up about who will be given the keys to the offense for this Phoenix backcourt. Aljun Melesio, he's a proven scorer in the UAAP. Jerry Pingoy is a proven scorer as well in the high school ranks. He just really deferred to his facilitating role when he went into Adamson especially. But look for Coach Topex to really bring out the true potential of Aljun and Jerry Pingoy in the backcourt. They don't let their height fool you. These guys really know how to mix it up with the big guys.
All right. Pero Javi, there's some guy who's a bit of a mystery to me. Fourth round pick by Phoenix Fuel. He's a Filipino-European by the name of Max Henschel. Like, what's his game?
Max Henschel is actually my uncle. He's my mom's third cousin. We got him on the pod last week, the week before the draft. And based on my research and the way that he was projecting himself on the show, he says he's a wing who can shoot from the outside. So it's going to be very exciting and a bit of a mystery as to how he will fare in the Filipino game because he's been playing around. He's been in China. He's been in Europe already. So now we'll see how he fares in the Filipino game in the PBA. I hope Coach Topex gives him a chance. But again, very, very loaded wing lineup for Phoenix. You have Matthew Wright, you have Vic Manuel already there, and Nick Demuses will give him a run for his money for sure.
Oh, Tito Max mo pala yan. I didn't know that. Okay. So pinsan mo si Marty, Tito mo si Max. Ayos. Okay. Okay. Marty, going on now to the Rain or Shine Elasto Painter. So again, we talked about this guy kanina, Santi Santillan, great front court defender. He's gonna be paired with Big Bo, sila Bradwin Ginto. So solid pick by rookie coach. Oh, no, nag-head coach na pala Chris Gavina before, yeah. Pero I wanna look at Rain or Shine second round picks, no? They got Andre Karakut plus Anton Asistio plus Frankie Johnson. Marty, when you look at Rain or Shine's lineup, like the only guards that they have are Adrian Wong, Norwood, and Ray Nambata, who's more of a shooting guard. Pero getting Anton Asistio and Andre Karakot, I think these guys are gonna see minutes. They're gonna see minutes in the backcourt.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited also for Anton specifically because, we've followed him since he was in high school, and that guy can shoot. And maybe for him, if he actually, looking at the roster, if he can actually play point guard, maybe it will give him a better opportunity. And he just needs to set up the place, and his shooting will always give him an opportunity on the court. And for Andre Karakot, we all know that he can handle the ball. But I'm excited for Frankie Johnson. I feel like he's slipped in the draft, and I've seen him play in the D-League. He's actually very talented, athletic, and looks like he has something to prove in this draft class. And yeah, the guards, I think they loaded on guards because also you mentioned that there's no really, the backcourt is kind of thin, and their backcourt is also aging. So this is the perfect time to actually load up on guards and get guards that can actually play in the league.
Right. Frankie Johnson. I'm kind of excited for this guy too. He's got moves, Javi. I like watching his highlights. He can ball. He's got moves.
He was actually very disappointed that he slipped that low in the draft. I think in one of his interviews he said that he wasn't expecting to go that low. And yeah, this guy can ball. I was watching him the 3x3 circuit previously previously na natapos na Chooks to Go Cup. He was really good. This guy can definitely ball, and it's really gonna take that load off Ray ng Batak because they want Ray ng Batak talaga to kasi they've been making Ray ng Batak play the point, but they want Ray ng Batak to focus more on his scoring. And with Anton and Andre Carapat here, they can take more of that facilitating role and then get that scoring role to Ray ng Batak, Frankie Johnson, and don't forget, we still have Big Game James in the roster.
Oh yeah. Okay. So again, yeah, great backcourt picks by Coach Chris Cavina. And also, no, Kenneth Mocon, he gets to play with his younger brother, Javi. So, congratulations to the Mocon family. Okay. Eto gusto ko. Marty, etong gusto kong pick. NLEX Road Warriors. This is a classic Yeng Giao pick. First round, they get Calvin Oftana, inside-out player, plays the big forward position. Can slide down also to small forward. Pero, Marty, Calvin Oftana, I think he's more, sabi mo nga kanina, happy mo ko yung dito, yung default comparison. Pero he reminds me so much of a Mac Bello. He's a proven winner, guy who's quiet, does his job well. And even in Gilas, he proved that he could stretch the floor as well.
Yeah, I actually like this pick. And if ever he was selected number 1, that wouldn't be a problem with me. This guy is so skilled, and we've seen it in the NCAA. I'm actually kind of sad that he might not be able to represent Gilas for the next few windows because he's not on that Gilas contract. But knowing Coach Yeng, this guy is going to have a good start to his career. They're going to give him the ball. And with playing with guys, if Kiefer stays, he's going to have an easier time to make that transition. He's so skilled that if they focus on another guy, he'll be more than willing to take the shot. And yeah, Calvin Oftana is he can play on basically any position. Without imports, he can actually play the 5. He can slide down to the 2 and spot up. So yeah, he's very skilled, and it's going to be exciting to see him play under Yeng Giao.
Tingnan mo si Marty, Javi, yung mga player descriptions niya, mas magaling pa ka dun sa sinulat nung broadcast. Di ba? Okay.
Nananawagan po kami sa TV5. Ni Marty, wala po kami. Kami sa broadcasting position. Or kahit yung researcher siguro pwede na namin palitan para yung player comparisons medyo
hindi yung tall, big, hardworking. Okay na. Ayos na. Okay, Javi. Moving on another MVP team. Meralco Bolts. Okay, tataasan na ang rice allowance kasi parating na si Alvin Pasaol sa Meralco Bolts. Javi, look at eto gusto ko rin si Alvin Pasaol. I mean, you look at the forwards ng Meralco at his size and position Nico Salva, Cliff Hodge, Reynel Hugnatan. Not to put down those guys, but they can't score like Alvin Pasaol. Alvin Pasaol can't defend like them, but they can't put up 40 like what he did in the UAAP.
Yeah, that's correct. And I really liked how Meralco did pre-draft and during the draft. They brought in Mac Bello, and now they have Alvin Pasaol. So now they have really legitimate scoring options on both wing positions. And that will really bode well for Coach Norman Black coming into this season. Aaron Black can focus on, shoring up the backcourt, and then you have Alvin Pasaol, who's a definite winner, who's a definite scorer. You have Mac Bello, who's very silent but deadly. It's going to be exciting also for Meralco to perform in this coming season.
Yeah. And again, diba, they needed a bucket getter. They needed a go-to scorer. We would seen times in the bubble where Meralco would parang kaya nila mag-defend Kaya nila makipagsabayan. But when they need a bucket, wala parang who will take over the offense? Chris Newsom isn't a scorer. He's more a facilitator. Even dati sila Baser Amer, that's not their job on the floor, but Alvin Pasaol, well, He can get you buckets. So
Yeah, I actually love this pick because it's about time that Alvin Pasol made it to join the PBA. And if you look at the players from ever since college, Coach Norman Black, this is not actually a Norman Black pick. He gets guys that follows the system, plays defense. Pero alam mo nang sa team ng Meralco, kailangan na talaga ng scorer eh. And this is the purest scorer probably in the draft. And he just loves to score and loves to play. He plays hard. Maybe if he focuses on defense, he'll be an even better player. And I'm sure Coach Norman will make him understand that defense is really so important. And the young group that they have, you have Aaron Black, Chris Newsom is still young. Those guys are going to be exciting. And they made it so far into the bubble last season. Maybe this guy can actually help out in scoring and bring them over the top.
Right. Speaking of that, no, Marty, going now to the next MVP team, TNT Tropa. First round, they actually traded up to get this guy. He's compared to Stanley Pringle, but I think he's a far better shooter. Mikey Williams. Marty, I think with this, no, TNT is number one, they're preparing for Jason Castro's retirement. And number two, they need someone who can penetrate and attack because yun nga, with Ray Parks being on hiatus, I mean they need someone to carry the offense outside of RR Pugoy and Jason Castro.
Yeah, I agree. They're really setting up for the future, and this is just a good pick for them. With all the uncertainty that they have, you just need a guy that can come in ready to perform. And when I've seen this guy play, he's just unfazed. So for him to join that group, Chot Reyes is coming back as coach. I think that'll be the perfect fit because he likes guys that just go out and play, and he's fearless. And the offense, as you said, as long as Jason Castro is still there, they're preparing for the future. But if you can play with Jason Castro, that'll be exciting to watch. Even though if they might be a small backcourt, the offense is just going to be so explosive. Yeah. And when Jason Castro is healthy, that backcourt can be very scary for the other teams.
And I think, Marty, parang mangyayari with TNT, they're gonna be showing lots of three-guard formations, meaning the starting five could be Castro at the 1, RR Pugoy at the 2, Mikey Williams might be bumped up to the small forward spot, and then your bigs would be Troy Rosario, and then finally, JP Eram. Because parang wala silang ibang small forward outside of sila Ryan Reyes or RR Pugoy. So, Mikey Williams, I mean, with Ray Park's absence, he's gonna get minutes with that. I'm also looking forward to see what JD Tungkab can bring sa TNT. I mean, why is this guy so underrated? Di ba parang when he was included in the Gilas pool, bakit si Tungkab? Di ba role player naman yan sa UP eh. Pero JD Tungkab, I think he's being slept on. No.
He definitely is. The reason why he was relegated to that role player role in UP was because ang dami ng scorers eh. You have Juan GDL, you have Paul Desiderio, you have so much scorers on the roster that there was no more room for JD Tungkab to really show what he can do. But people forget that when he was in Adamson, this guy was a scorer for Coach Franz Mamarin, and this guy can really ball. And he has long arms, he's tall, and he can really dribble the ball well. And also, he can pass the ball well. That's why he's a perfect fit for Coach Chot Reyes in this dribble drive system that he employs. He's going to be running more of that offense, going to be playing 1 to the 3 spot. And he can play defense also. He proved that in his final years in college. And Coach Chot Reyes likes those kinds of players. Mga fearless talaga, yung atake lang ng atake. And JD Tungkab has a pretty decent outside shot as well.
Yeah, so I think Tungkab is going to be battling minutes for the guys I mentioned, sila Ryan Reyes, Samboy De Leon even. Pero they're all gonna get consideration kasi nga Ray Parks is we don't know what's up with him right now. So moving on now to number 8. My only question for this team for Alaska, my childhood team is you get Ben Adamos in the first round. But parang look at their bigs, no? I mean, Abu Trotter, Barkley Ibonya, Yusef Taha, and Brundial. None of those guys can shoot. There's no floor spacing. Jeron Teng, Rob Erndon. Who's your outside shooter now? I'm left to question that. So, well, good luck with Coach Jeff Carriazo for finding out some way to space the floor. But okay, number 9, Marty. Magnolia Hotshots Pambansang Manok. That's their full team name. We have to say it that way. Okay, so first round they get Jeric Ahanmisi, who I think is, you know what, Magnolia really needs a 3-point shooter outside of Paul Lee. I mean, you're not gonna get lots of shooting from Baroka or Gio Halalon. Pero Marty, tingin mo kakainin tong si Jeric Ahanmisi? He can shoot, ha? Pero in practice, kabanggaan mo sila Abueva, Baroka, Halalon. Parang, Ahanmisi can shoot, but he's not, we know, in Adamson, he's not, the most grittiest, hard-nosed guy.
Well, if he's gonna have to learn like that, it's better to learn in practice. And if you're gonna experience that in practice, come game time, it's gonna be easier for him. Pero he played also in the States, so I'm pretty sure he's used to the physicality. In the UAP, they allow a lot of holding, so he's used to that. But if you're gonna learn from those guys in practice, that's the best way to learn. And I'm pretty sure he's gonna be able to fit in well because again, like Anton Asisio and Rainer Shine, if you have a shot, you're always going to be given an opportunity to play. And he has that shot.
Ito, Javi, parang hindi ba parang si Jeric Ahanmisi pumasok sa Magnolia practice dyan yan sa may Ronak Center na malapit lang sa amin. Pag sinabi nila Abueva, Halalon, Baroka, bigyan kaya natin to ng konting, alam mo na, di ba? Mamaya yan ang mangyari sa kanya eh.
Well, he's gonna have to learn one way or another. Like what Marty said, it's better to learn with these kinds of guys in practice than learn from your opponents on the hard court during the season. Jeric Ahanmisi's specialty type of player going into the PBA. He has a 3-point shot. He also can pull up from off the dribble. But he has to learn how to defend because Coach Chito Victorero is a very defensive coach talaga. May problem lang talaga is how he will crack that rotation. Itong Magnolia, parang security agency na to. They compare it to what like Ginebra was a few years back when they had that really so many guards talaga. But right now, what was pointed out kanina was they don't have shooters and most of the 3-point conversions by Magnolia in the bubble was courtesy of Paul Lee. I think that was somewhat of 80% 3-point conversions coming from Paul Lee, and that's not really a good sign, especially with how the game is evolving right now. You really have to have floor spacers, whether it be in the backcourt or in the front court.
Yep.
Well,
okay, so
if you look at the makeup of the team, they also didn't have a lot of 3-point shots because they relied so much on their press. And having another guard there, maybe it's going to give them the opportunity because they can press even more. So may kapalitan sila. And you're going to take advantage of his shooting. So maybe they'll have more half-court sets to set their shooters up.
Right. So we'll wait to see on that, Marty. Just to wrap things up with team number 10, Blackwater Bossing. Okay, si Sir Josel Dosi called Andre Paras the steal of the draft. But Mr. C, I think he's not the steal of the draft. Andre Paras for Blackwater is the scent of the draft. I just solved your marketing tagline for your new cologne. Thank you so much. Okay, I think that's all the time we have for this afternoon. Once again, I want to thank the Ballin Cousins, Javi Palana, and Marty Veloso joining me from the blue side of things. Thank you so much for our PBA draft recap. See, yung kaya nilang gawin in close to 3 hours, nagawa natin in 59 minutes. Okay, so congratulations to us. Again, the PBA, mag-iintay po tayo ha. Ang balak nila mag-open sa Inares Center sa Antipolo sa April 18. Kaso lang, tumataas po ang COVID everywhere dito sa NCR. Kaya ingat-ingat po tayo lahat and stay safe everyone. I'd like to thank also everyone who tuned in and sent in their comments and greetings for us. Thank you so much. And of course, Marty, Javi, peace. See you guys soon. Thank you. Ingat kayo.
Thank you, guys.
Welcome to The Rundown, where we take you right into the action with the latest sports news, updates, game previews, breakdown, and analysis in, around, across, and beyond the Ateneo. And now, let's get ready to run down!